Good evening, my friends. I have no idea what I'm doing. No idea. I just I need to get more content on this second channel and couldn't think of anything. So I said, hey, why don't I just go live and see what happens? Because I did my weekly update today and I talked for like 15 minutes about not book stuff. And I said, maybe it's time to have a little the first live stream on Mike's Media Reviews and see what happens, because there's lots of stuff going on outside the world of books that I clearly want to talk about. And I guess we're going to kind of find out how that goes. There are a couple of big things. Obviously, Last of Us seems to be dominant. Now, guys, I'm not going to spoil anything for you in any of these movies or anything like that. If you haven't seen it, don't worry. I'm just going to kind of talk about whatever. Like, I know a lot of people want to know about what I think about the DC movie slate and things like that. So I said, hey, why don't we just go live instead of making like videos like that? Because I finally got approved to go live on the second channel. I tried to do that with Jaime and Fuego a couple of weeks ago, or actually it was a couple of months ago, and I wasn't approved yet. So that's how it should work. But guys, lots of fun stuff going on in the world of entertainment. I guess I got to talk about The Last of Us here for a second. Episode 3, it seems really weird to me that everyone's just like, this is the finest hour of television I've ever seen. Well, first off, it was 84 minutes, not an hour. But I digress. I think it was good. It was good. I'm just not seeing it being like, this is the most amazing thing HBO's ever done. I mean, it would be the 11th best thing I saw if you count the 10 episodes of House of the Dragon just this year. Or I guess that was last year, right? I mean, sometimes I think people just get so excited, they get caught up in the moment. They want everything to be the best ever. But if you feel that way, I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. I think for me, just using my wife as kind of like that instant feedback, because she never played the game. So just what she was saying was like, this is the third episode of the show. Why am I focused on two characters that aren't the main characters when I'm not even connected to the main characters yet? So I get where she's coming from, but I don't know. I think the show's very good. It's very good. It makes it to where I want everything to be adapted by HBO now, because they seem to be the only ones who know how to faithfully adapt something to and put your own spin on it, but still stay mostly faithful to the source. I think that's all we want. We just don't want something like Wheel of Time where we look at it and it's unrecognizable. So yeah, HBO continues to just be leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else when it comes to original content, I think, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. But yeah, overall, I'm very happy with the show. My guy Ron Swanson is getting all kinds of like conversation about like, wait a second, hang on. I just I just saw, am I live or a hologram? I mean, I think I'm real. I don't know. Do I look funny? I mean, besides usual, but I usually look pretty funny. Do I look funny right now? I don't know. Yeah, Ron Swanson is in The Last of Us. I always forget that his name's Nick Offerman, so I just kind of call him. I just always call him. Ron Swanson. Am I a Cowboys fan? No, man, I'd rather chew glass than be a Cowboys fan. I think that I was ready to walk away from the Texans completely, but they made a really good hire with their head coach. So now they pull me back in, I think. But it's hard to walk away from your hometown teams. It really is. It really, really is. But hey, Caitlin, how are you? Yeah, I've got my actual camera, not a webcam anymore. So you have to see this in high definition now. So yeah, it's really. I mean, there's some. I mean, Cowboys fans are like Yankees fans. They're kind of everywhere. But no, there's no need to apologize, man. Fan for who you want to. I will never ever judge you. Unless you're a Saints fan. I don't like the Saints. So there we go. I don't have a lot of sports hate. So I did go see Avatar, you guys, with my kid last weekend. We both really, really enjoyed it. I think it's one of those things where after I watched Avatar 1, wasn't really waiting for Avatar 2. But after Avatar 2, okay, I'm waiting for Avatar 3 now. I got a lot of unanswered questions that I want to know about, like good questions, not in a way where I felt like a plot hole. I'm like, okay, well, what do you think that meant? So I'm excited. I think that I thought that Avatar 2 was really good. I know that people just wanted to hate it before it came out, and they're like just kind of stunned at the success. I saw someone like actually saying the only reason that it's being so successful is because of inflation. I mean, I always say that I think that all movies should go by ticket sales, not by dollars earned. Because you go by ticket sales, I don't think anything will ever catch Gone with the Wind. If you adjust that for inflation, Gone with the Wind is like 2-1 over like even Endgame got. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird conversation I think to have, but I just keep saying don't doubt James. Don't doubt James Cameron. The guy always wins. He always makes you look foolish. So I don't know. Let me see some of these comments here. I didn't get to finish it. The PlayStation, I started feeling like I was having a war for it every night with my kids, and then they wanted to play stuff on Game Pass. And I just kind of fell between the cracks. It's what happens with me in gaming. A lot of the times with gaming is I'll go on like these streaks where I'm really, really into it, and then I just stop one day and I don't play games for 6 months. It's really weird how that works. But yeah, Andrew, I'm not rich. I don't have a PS5. So I have an Xbox One and I have a PlayStation 4. My oldest has a Nintendo Switch and an Oculus VR. Is that what they're called? Which is funny because my wife is obsessed with Oculus VR. She plays it every night. There's this thing called Beat Saber on it, and basically it's her workout. It's just like you're on. It's like remember Guitar Hero or Rock Band? Those games that were really popular about a decade ago. It's like that, but it's VR, and you've got the big giant headset on, and you're like moving and stuff to hit all those notes. And she plays that every night, and she's like, "Man, my legs are getting like real definition." So, hey, I guess that's what you always want with games. At least you're working out a little bit. Heck yeah, I'm going to be playing Hogwarts Legacy. You better believe it. I took that test because my kid always jokes about this. He has a cup that I give him to drink out of all the time that has all 4 houses on it. I always turn to Slytherin when I hand it to him, and he doesn't think it's funny. But I'm like, dude, comb your hair straight back. You look just like Draco Malfoy. Accept it. And you love snakes. I got a picture of you at the zoo, with all the snakes. So I think that with Hogwarts Legacy, I took that test. You can take the test. It has like 50 questions. It's very multi-layered. It's not easy to game the system. And I came up with Gryffindor every time. And my wife's, redhead, so she's Gryffindor. I mean, there's Weasleys. You're always going to be Gryffindor, right? Red hair, hand-me-down robe, you must be a Weasley, right? That's how it works. But my kid actually did take the test, and he got Ravenclaw. So I'm actually surprised about that. So it's going to be fun to play that game. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't watched no, it looked like a real bastardization of Anne Rice, and I was just like, what I just said about HBO being the only one that can adapt anything faithfully. It seems like now all these creators want to do is like, hey, I love that book when I was younger. Let me adapt it, but do my own thing, which means you're just using the name to try to get eyes on your product, which I think is really just shitty to the original creator. But, enough people are watching it, I guess, that they're going to be doing another season of it. So it's cool. I watched the trailer, and that was enough for me to be like, that's not Interview with the Vampire. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, I can't wait for Hogwarts Legacy. It looks awesome. Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. I hope you're liking Ashes of Man. I mean, as much as you can. Christopher Rocchio's a silent assassin, just like Robin Hobb when you're not expecting it. Yeah. Nevermore is your suggestion after Percy Jackson. We're going to be a while. Like I said, we're only reading like a chapter or so a night about that. And someone already sent me the next series. So we've got like 10 books. And those next books look a little chunkier. But yeah, we'll get to those when we can. But he watched the little teaser trailer for the Disney Plus show, and I think this is going to be the first like realization to him that Disney ruins everything in adaptation. So just in that trailer, that teaser trailer alone, which is like 30 seconds long, he's already pointing out inaccuracies. So yeah, it's gonna be rough for him, I think. What's this? Finish season 1 for All Mankind. You're right, it's fantastic. It really is. I was like, if you are from the States and you watched that first episode and you weren't angry, I mean, just because it really does capture how that would have been if the United States had lost the space race. It really does highlight that. And what I love about it is like the space race didn't end; it accelerated. And I love alt timeline stuff like that. And that show just gets better with its alt timeline. It's just so crazy. Things that you expect to happen. Things you do expect to happen, they do, but in a different way. Like the 1980 hockey team in U.S., they actually lose to Russia. Things like that. John Lennon isn't assassinated. Things like that. It's just so cool the alternate timeline stuff that they can do with that, and it never takes away from the main point of that show, which is about the families and stuff. As big Mike Flanagan guy, big Ronald D. Moore fan who does that show. He did Battlestar Galactica. He did Star Trek Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. He's doing Outlander. So Ronald D. Moore is a storyteller I've always been down with. But yeah, For All Mankind, guys, if use your 7-day free trial on Apple TV and just binge all 3 seasons, guys. I've watched all 3 seasons in a matter of days. It's that good. It really is. I had planned to watch 1899 later because me and my wife loved Dark. We thought Dark was excellent, man. And so we were waiting to finish up some other shows and we were going to watch it. And then it got canceled. And we're like, well, I don't want to watch an incomplete story. So I guess I'm part of the problem, as binge watchers. If enough people aren't watching that, Netflix is always going to cancel it. But that was really just we were trying to finish off some other shows first. So, yeah. Man, I want to say Rick Riordan's involved. So, and honestly, it can't be worse than the Percy Jackson movies, right? I say that. But I look at like what Disney Plus did with Artemis Fowl, and I was like, holy shit, it can be worse, So I don't know. I'm so down on Disney right now, and I know a lot of people get mad about that because I'm not just like, oh, the MCU movie, new MCU movie. I try not to be like that, and I don't want to be a wet blanket for anybody. I don't trust Disney. As far as I could throw this desk is about how far I trust Disney, and I couldn't throw it very far. So with Disney, it's got to be kind of like a prove it to me thing. We let our Disney Plus run out. The only thing we planned to watch was Mandalorian, because we watched it as a family, but we weren't watching anything on there anymore. So I don't know. I think that's why I've become more like into Apple TV and HBO, just because I just want something original, not rehashes and just formulaic stuff set in the same IP we've seen a million times. So that's it's about like me. Yeah, Ronald D. Moore, he isn't the main showrunner now. He's the one who got it started, but he isn't writing every episode like he did with Galactica, like he did on Deep Space Nine, and like he's doing with For All Mankind. But he is very much a huge part about why Outlander even made it to the screen because he loved those books. But yeah, Ronald D. Moore, great storyteller. Caleb, if you haven't watched Battlestar Galactica, man, you got to. It's so good. And I tell people, even if you aren't into science fiction, that's one of those shows that kind of just like it transcends that genre. You don't have to be into that genre to love that show because it really is like the West Wing in outer space is the way that I put it. It has like the best in-world politics I've seen on TV, not from the West Wing. It's so good. It's such a great, great show. Great performances. Admiral Adama is my dude. Edward James Olmos. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, I think I've seen about 800 commercials for Ant-Man, and I'm like, is there really a third Ant-Man movie? And then like everyone's excited about it. I don't know. So it's just me, I guess. I don't know. But like I said, I don't want to be a wet blanket. If you guys are still enjoying it, that's great. For me, Endgame was the end. That was it. It was over. That was the end of it for me. So there we go. So I watched Terminator 2 with my kid again. He's decided it is still the greatest movie of all time, but he thought Avatar: Way of Water is the second greatest movie of all time. So that's probably a little bit of excitement there, but he wanted to watch Terminator 2 again just to confirm that's the greatest movie of all time. And I was like, I could watch Terminator 2 and rewind it and start it again. Rewind. Tells you how old I am. I could start it over and watch it again. So sure, we watched it, and yeah, he loved it. Even my youngest watched a lot of it. And movies like that don't really hold his attention very well. And a lot of people are like, I can't believe you're letting your 10 and 7-year-old watch R-rated movies. Whatever. They see worse stuff on YouTube, honestly. So yeah, Apple TV is doing such quality stuff. They really are. It's like they are really focused on quality over quantity, I think, because everything I've watched on Apple TV, like Foundation is the only one I kind of flamed away on. And I think that was just I don't know, just some decisions that they made. I was just like, whatever. It wasn't a rage quit or anything. I've only watched a few episodes of C, but I like that. But For All Mankind's great. Severance was amazing, guys. You've got to watch Severance ASAP if you haven't. So yeah, Apple TV is doing great stuff. Great, great stuff. Yeah, and that's the thing is he asked, is there a Terminator 3? I was like, nope. Yeah, so yeah. I think a young reader would enjoy Jurassic Park more. It's a little easier to follow. Dune's going to be. I think you need to at least be a teenager before you really get into Dune because a lot of those themes you're not really going to be interested in before that age, and you're going to hear a lot of words and names and stuff, and you're just going to be like, "This, no, that's definitely not the one I give to a younger kid." So yeah, Apple TV doing Dark Matter is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be just great. Can't wait. I think it's an amazing hire. I think that D'Amico Ryans is one of those coaches I didn't believe would actually come to the Texans, because that guy was, I mean, a lot of people will say Sean Payton because he's the name, but I really do believe that D'Amico Ryans was the most desirable candidate on the market. I mean, all 5 teams that had a vacancy wanted to talk to him. And he interviewed with the Texans and was basically like, no, I want to be here. And I was like, I didn't think it would actually happen. So, I mean, it helps that he's one of my favorite Texans of all time. But the guy is just like infectious. I mean, everything that he says, you feel like you want to run through a wall for him. I think that's what young players need. He seems like he's going to be a great coach. So, first time in about 10 years, probably since D'Amico left, that I've been optimistic about the Texans, which is amazing because they're still a garbage fire. But he makes me believe, you know. I did watch Ash versus Evil Dead. Big Evil Dead fan, big Bruce Campbell fan. Any Evil Dead that has Bruce Campbell in it, I like. I'm sad it got canceled when it did, because I did think it had at least one more year in it. But yeah, I want to see Bruce Campbell playing that character forever. And now they're making another Evil Dead without him. I'm like, oh. And it kind of makes me just wish they just let some things lie. You know, if you've got a great idea for a horror story, just make a new horror movie. You know, you don't got to use the name Evil Dead. See, that's the thing I always say is you know how good a coach or a player is by how the team that lost him is reacting to it, how their fans react to it. So, like, if you sign a free agent cornerback and you're excited about it, but all the other fans are like, "Oh, thank God he's your problem now," like, "Uh-oh," you know. But when people are sad to see that player or that coach go, yeah. Have I watched much Asian horror? I mean, this God, what was that movie? Train to Busan? Does that count? Because that was awesome. I love that. Does Parasite count? I liked both of those. I don't think Parasite was technically horror. But yeah, I think that Asian horror is whipping the pants off of the States now, because FCC won't let us do anything. You know, everything is, oh, if you want to do that, you got to give it an NC-17 rating. You know, so I don't know. I mean, I think like they're starting to at least get a little braver out here, and they're actually making R-rated movies in horror again, instead of them always being PG-13 and making them, just jump scares and stuff. So I feel like there are people trying to get it turned around, like Barbarian that came out. That was awesome. That's one of the best American horror movies I've seen in a while. So I don't know. I think with horror, it's tough for people, because I don't consider just an overload of gore scary. That's not scary. That's not horror. What I want with horror is I want to feel uncomfortable. I want to feel like when I'm putting my hand up, like I don't want to see what's around that corner. Barbarian did that really, really good. I haven't read Rendezvous with Rama. I'm interested because Denny V is supposed to be adapting it, so I'll read it before his adaptation comes out. I think Kyrie's going to Kyrie. He's like the old Manny Ramirez of the NBA. Is like, you can put up with it because of how talented he is, but I don't know that anybody's going to give up very much for him, because you don't know what you're going to get on the day to day with that guy. You know, who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, the Rockets own like all the Nets draft picks until 2027. So I want them to be terrible, terrible. So the Rockets get all great picks. We'll see. Yeah, Train to Busan was really, really good. And that was one of those, I think, that even in the translation, nothing was lost, because we didn't watch the dub version. We watched, the regular audio with the subtitles, and we were still like emotional at the end. So that's how you know that movie actually caught something really, really good. Board games. What's up? What's some of your favorite board games? Oh, we play Sorry all the time. We play the game of Life still. Trouble, if we just want a quick one. Did some Payday the other day, trying to teach my oldest about, because they're starting to really get into math of money and stuff in fifth grade. So I was doing that to help them, understand how to count. We played Monopoly not that long ago, and my oldest like wiped the floor with us. Like every single time, he was like getting properties and all this cash, and collect $1,200 for no reason. So I was like, beginner's luck, But yeah, we play some board games. We got this Disney Scene It, where you have like the movie clip and stuff like that. So I mean, if that counts. Yeah, I got that Harry Potter Trivial Pursuit over the holiday, and that is tough, man. That has some hard questions. You got to be a serious Harry Potter junkie to know some of those questions that they ask, like what kind of feather is used to make this kind of core of a wand and shit. It's wild, but it's very good. It's very challenging. I'm glad it wasn't one where one person who's read the books can just dominate the whole time. Yeah, Black Phone was really good too. It made me upset that the Joe Hill story is like 15 pages long. I was like, wow, I was hoping that was a real book, a whole book. Yeah, it's rough. Modern horror was after Scream blew up real big. You got so many people just trying to spoof that, and you really got into what I would call like CW horror, where it was like, let's cast the most beautiful people that we can, have the cat jumping out of the windows, jump scares, and a soundtrack that's got all the popular rock and pop bands on it, and it just wasn't scary at all. So I feel like people like Ari Aster are actually trying to make it scary again. I'm not real crazy about Robert Eggers. I loved The Northman, but I didn't care for his first two movies. But I feel like he's the type of person who's going to push horror to actually try to do original stuff again. So, yeah. Of course, I watched Blade. It's like one of the best comic book movies ever before people knew what comic book movies were. Like at the time, I was like, man, that's a badass comic book adaptation. I'm like, that's a comic book? I'm like, yes. It's weird how people don't remember these things, that there was comic book movies before the MCU guys. They really did exist. I think with Black Phone is Ethan Hawke is so solid that you never see that dude's face in the movie, and he's still great. He commands every scene that he's in. I love Ethan Hawke, man. I think he's so underrated. I think he's really, really good. If you guys ever watch those before movies, I think it's Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. Those movies are great, but I mean, they're just dialogue. They're just dialogue and long cuts of like people walking for 20 minutes without a camera cut and just talk. Beautiful movies, man. Watch all three of those if you can. They're really great for date night. Let's see here. Saying a film has a twist is a spoiler. I mean, I know that some people are always going to say that. I think ever since M. Night Shyamalan got popular with Sixth Sense, anytime you say a movie has a twist now, people are expecting some crazy ending, I think with Barbarian, what I said was not necessarily a twist as much as just it's best if you go into that movie knowing nothing, because it will completely surprise you, because you do think this is going to be one type of movie and then halfway through it completely changes, and it's a good change. Believe it or not, it really is good. So I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, Blades of Comic. They're actually supposed to be redoing it with Mahershala Ali, who I love. I think Mahershala Ali is a great actor. I think if he was going to be anybody not Wesley Snipes playing Blade, he's a really good pick. I think so. Yeah, it really is one of those. I don't think that people. Richard Linklater is a great filmmaker. That I've met him. Actually, he lives in Austin. Shared some beers with the guy. Very nice guy. He's just always down on 6th Street in Austin. But he's made that. He made Dazed and Confused, School of Rock. Yeah, Richard Linklater is a great, great filmmaker. But his movies, they aren't for everyone. He's basically the Seinfeld of movies, in that his movies aren't about anything usually. School of Rock did. But like the Before trilogy, people are like, there's like no plot. It's like, they're just slice of life movies, man. You're either into that or you're not. But yeah, I think the first one's about the best, like kind of date night kind of movie. And it has it's amazing because they keep the same actors, with all three of those movies. And each movie is 11 years apart in real time. So that's what makes those movies so great. So you see them as teenagers, you see them as, early married couple, and then a later married couple. And it's really great. What is your most gate kept idea? Uh, I don't know. It's pretty good. I mean, I gotta think it's something that hasn't happened yet. I think if they were, you can go back a long time ago on Mike's book reviews and find a video where Rebecca Ferguson was basically saying that Dune needed to be modernized for the big screen, and I got super defensive of that. So I think maybe people that talk about Frank Herbert's Dune, and it's very clear they haven't read it, that really gets me a little fired up and very overprotective. And that book, for being written in 1965, is very progressive. I mean, super, super progressive for the time period. And Lady Jessica in that is basically a superhero. So when Rebecca Ferguson was basically saying that women had no place in Frank Herbert's Dune, I was like, well, it's clear you didn't read it. And sure enough, the press tour started, and she did say that she tried to read it and she couldn't. So I think probably Dune, but the fact that it's in such great hands, Denny very clearly cares about that source material. That's to me was like, okay, I'm safe. I don't have any problems with that. And I think that's why Dune is still one of the best fandoms, because we just wanted to see it adapted again. and the fact that it's in such great, like there's this breakdown video where Denny B is talking about the scene with the hand in the box. He's talking about how they decided to do that scene. And one thing that he said in that video that I love so much is he said, every time we got stuck, we kept going back to the book and saying, what would Frank do? And I was like, that is amazing. You don't hear that. I think besides Peter Jackson, when he was doing Lord of the Rings, I never heard that with anybody, any other filmmaker before. So yeah, I mean, you're talking about two of my favorite books ever, Fellowship of the Ring and Dune, and seeing it in the hands of people who care about it. And that's why stuff like House of the Dragon and The Last of Us, seeing that it's in the hands of people who give a damn about their source material instead of doing our own thing, it makes it for great TV. And I'm hoping the success of Last of Us will show them, hey, if we adapt more stuff faithfully, the fans will come. The longtime fans are going to be there, and the casuals will join in, because there's a ton of people now who are watching Last of Us that never played the game just based off of word of mouth. So it's great. I hope it really does. It really does. I hope they redo Uncharted, because that Uncharted movie they made, garbage. Now that HBO has a really good relationship, actually not garbage. It was a fine movie. It just wasn't Uncharted. It wasn't Uncharted. Love Tom Holland. He's not Nathan Drake. I'm sorry. Mark Wahlberg is not Sully. Please knock it off. So they have such a good relationship with Naughty Dog. Maybe they'll do an Uncharted series. That'd be a lot of fun, right? I've never heard of 3,000 Years of Longing. I'll have to look it up. I don't know what Studio Ghibli. I don't know what that is. If it's anime, probably not. I've read Vinland Saga. I've read Death Note and Berserk, and I watched the Vinland Saga anime with my kid because I want to get him interested in Viking stuff. But I'm not really big into anime. It's just not really my thing. But I never say never. No, man. Disney has used up their continues with me. I'm not going to be watching Andor. I know you guys think that if you keep beating on me, it's going to happen. It's a matter of principle to me. How many times can that abusive partner punch me in the mouth before I finally leave? Even though they promise to change, which is what Andor is. No. All your friends are telling you that they've changed. You need to give them one more try. And that's how I feel about it. It was an abusive relationship with Disney and Star Wars. And Star Wars has been like my religion since I was old enough to fan anything. So that's why, No. A lot of people consider that like petty. Maybe. I don't know. But, I'm glad others are enjoying it. No. They've run out of continues for me, as I say. I think Mass Effect would be great television if it's done faithfully, man. I think Mass Effect is so much stuff. It's like, basically, I always say about Mass Effect is it's like Babylon 5, but with like a huge budget. Because Babylon 5 was so ahead of its time when it came out on TV. It was so different from Star Trek. It did like all this long form storytelling, all these character arcs and stuff that went over multiple seasons. It was amazing, but they were hampered by their budget. What they could do, what J. Michael Straczynski could do with that show. What he did do in the mid 90s was amazing. Amazing. I said, go back and watch that, guys. It's on HBO Max now. If you can put up with the very, very dated special effects, that's an amazing show. Some of the best character arcs I've ever seen. And, even Deep Space Nine borrowed from that show. But I think that Mass Effect, is just perfect for television if they did it right. And I think that The Last of Us has got us all optimistic now. But I do know that Amazon owns the rights to Mass Effect and God of War. And they've tapped the idiot showrunner from Wheel of Time to make a God of War show. So it shows me, Amazon, you're really good at the thrillers. The Reacher show was good. The Terminal List was really, really good. Bosch is good. I think that you guys should just specialize in that and stay away from the fantasy. I haven't watched it, but I've heard Jack Ryan's really good. I think they should try to see if any Michael Crichton options are available, because I think that Amazon doing like, a remake of Sphere or something would be really kick-ass. I would love something like that. So, yeah, see, it's not hard to respect the source material, I don't think. Okay, I've been waiting for this. Yeah, a lot of people all week have been asking me about the DC thing. You guys don't know, huge DC Comics guy. Huge. And people think that I always make excuses for no, I have shit all over Warner Brothers ever since Batman Returns, guys. I have been all over Warner Brothers for years for always screwing up these properties. And people are like, oh, does that mean like you're done? No, I'm not done. I am a huge fan of these characters. They're in the wrong hands, And people that always look at, oh, like MCU is so great. Guys, you remember what happened with Marvel characters before MCU broke off and made its own studio? It wasn't good. That never happened with Warner Brothers. They'll never let go of those licenses because they make enough money off of Batman and Superman t-shirts to never let go of those licenses. So it's always going to be there. But I got to say, for this time, I feel like they've got a plan for a change. Now, I'm probably biased because I love James Gunn. I think James Gunn is great. Whatever style movies he makes usually click with me. I mean, all the way since back in Slither, back in the early 2000s, I've been a fan of James Gunn. I love the Guardians movies, obviously. Uh, I thought his Suicide Squad movie was okay, but I still felt like I could see some studio meddling in that. I feel like now if he really does, if they really given him the keys and they're going to let him do this his way, I'm optimistic about it. And with that slate that he came out with, I think I liked the movies. I think it was a mistake announcing the TV stuff because already you've got people being like, I don't want to commit to watching all that stuff. So he should have just announced just the 5 movies, I think. But if you watch that video, man, you can't deny that guy's enthusiasm. He loves these characters and he's very excited. So the whole time when Zack Snyder was, I never felt like there was a plan. This is the first time I feel like there is an actual plan to make a shared universe the right way. And starting with the Superman movie, I'm excited. Big Superman fan. I know some people don't like him. I love Superman. He has a lot more to Superman than besides he's superpowered. You know, there's a lot more to that character and that story. I've been reading Superman comics since I was a kid. But for me, the biggest thing is finally going to see some respect put on Green Lantern. Now, it's going to be an HBO Max series. It's called Lanterns. But he did suggest that that is to lead to bigger things down the road. So this is chapter 1, I think they're calling. Look at it like phase 1. And it's going to be 10 movies. And he announced the first 5. So I'm hoping, you know, one day that means we get the Sinestro Corps War, we get the Blackest Night, all that Green Lantern stuff I want to see. So, hey, they want to lay out this universe first on this TV series. I'm all for it because that's some heavy lore in the Green Lantern universe. And you get to teach people that. That way, when you start the movie, you have to explain 8 to 12 different color rings to everybody when you start the movie. You know, you can understand already what this universe is like and why are we in that sector out in the middle of space, you know? So I'm excited. Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart are great. I hope Guy Gardner shows up in it. I hope Kilowog shows up in it. Hope Tomar shows up in it. I love so many things about Green Lantern, guys. It is the best. It is their Star Wars. They have a Star Wars under their umbrella and they're not using it, you know, just because that Ryan Reynolds movie was a complete disaster. And people ask, were you excited about that? I wasn't until I saw the very first trailer and I saw the CGI and I was like, woof. As far as Henry Cavill, look, great guy, man. And he's a perfect Superman. I think he was great. He was underappreciated. They used him wrong. But I want James Gunn to have a clean slate. If they're really going to start completely over, which from what it sounds like, that Flash movie is just going to reset everything. They're still going to have like that Elseworlds thing, like the Batman that just came out, things like that. And I'm cool with that. You want to do a Elseworlds? That's great. DC Comics does Elseworlds. It's a great idea. Have your separate universe. But as far as your shared universe, I wanted them to have a complete clean slate. You know, these movies they've already recorded. Get Ezra Miller out of there. I love you, Jason Momoa, but okay, thanks for playing. I never thought we'd get a second Aquaman movie, you know? So, yeah, just give him a clean slate to work with. As painful as it is to see Henry go, and I know that whoever they cast, it's going to be painful, but I got to tell you guys, every single time a James Bond leaves, every time a Doctor Who leaves, it's always, I'm not going to like the new Batman. It happens every time. And they always end up growing on everybody for the most part. So trust the process. Trust the process. Don't freak out when you see the casting. You guys remember I call it the Ledger rule, the Heath Ledger rule, that don't freak out by a casting because you can see a casting and until you see it on the screen, you don't know how it's going to work out because people may act like now, oh, I knew Heath Ledger was going to be great. I have never seen the internet melt so much like it did way back in, what was that, like 2006 or so, when it was announced that Heath Ledger would be playing Joker. I mean, there was petitions to have that movie canceled. How dare they don't ask Jack Nicholson? You know, that was what it was like at the time. So, yeah, I'm very enthusiastic about the DC, just the whole IP of DC Comics. And I want to see it done great. And I want to trust James Gunn. I've been hurt so many times by Warner Brothers, you know, but I don't know. I'm optimistic this time, but it's a wall of cautious optimism. I'm not putting the wall down yet, but I am saying I hope people will give it a chance because I do see people already were just like dying to hate on it. And I'm not just talking about like the clickbait hate sites on YouTube, and you know who they are. I'm not going to name them, but the ones who just thrive off negativity. They think everything sucks. I'm not talking about things like that. But like for like on Twitter when the news was announced before they even hear anything, oh, this sucks. This is gonna be stupid. This is trash. There's gonna be people like that. There's gonna be people who, you know, don't care. They're finally getting to see a Supergirl movie. They're excited for that. And there's people like me that feel like hope for the best, expect the worst because, Warner Brothers has burned me so many times. But, hey, I can get a Green Lantern universe. I'm excited, even if it takes a little while. So, and I'm excited for Swamp Thing because John Constantine might show up. See, I think the House of the Dragon was pretty faithful. What's different about that is it's very unreliable narrator with House of the Dragon because if you read, it's just a history book. It's not a straight narrative like the regular books are because there's so many things where, okay, this is a maester recounting this 100 years later based off of what he heard from a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing. What history, and as we know, history is written by the winners. So I feel like they had a little bit more leeway, and I don't feel like they changed anything super seriously in there because there are so many different points of view in Fire and Blood. So I'm actually quite happy with what they did with House of the Dragon. Where are we at here? Most anticipated TV and movies for 2020. Yeah, obviously both of those. I got the thing open over here on the side. I'm gonna kind of run down some of the big movies coming out this year, and if I plan on seeing them. Let's see here. Right, we're in February, right? Okay, so John Wick 4, I think, is the next big one. Or Ant-Man. No, I'm not going to see that, but you guys have fun. John Wick 4. I mean, yeah, I'll always I'll always see a new John. I won't pay to see it, but I'll watch it when it comes out stream. It takes a lot to get me to the theater these days, guys, because we got to get a babysitter and all that stuff. Just a pain. If it's a movie, I'm not taking my kids to. Creed 3, I don't think I'll be seeing that. Only reason I watched the first two Creed movies because I love the Rocky franchise, and this is the first one that's not going to have Sylvester Stallone in it. So hey, Rocky's gone. Cool. They successfully passed the torch, but I'm good. I didn't like the Creed character enough to keep going without Rocky in it. I haven't watched like the last few Scream movies, so I don't know. Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I mean, at this point, it's like it feels like, why am I watching something that's about to end? Even though I think that Zachary Levi did a great job with that character. And that first movie was really, really good. Let's see, where else are we at? The Super Mario Brothers movie. We'll be seeing that. The whole family will be going to see that. We might do the drive-in and watch that one. That'd be a fun movie. I want that movie to succeed so bad because I want that to do so well that Nintendo's like, wow, we're sitting on a gold mine here, and we'll finally get my Legend of Zelda movie and my Metroid movie. I've been waiting for those since I was a kid. A serious Zelda movie. Now I'm not talking about like, excuse me, princess, about like real Legend of Zelda. And a Metroid movie, I think it'd be an amazing sci-fi series if they did that right. If I'm missing anything, feel free to let me know here. I'm just kind of rolling down. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we will be going to see that in the theater. That's something the whole family loves. So we'll definitely be going to see Guardians 3. That's probably the only MCU movie I have any interest in. I'll be curious when they finally get to X-Men because I love the X-Men and I don't feel like they've ever really been done right. As great as Hugh Jackman was, they've never felt like Stan Lee's X-Men, so I think maybe we've got a chance. We've got a chance with that. Little Mermaid, no, I think the live action remakes they just get worse and worse. Cross the Spider-Verse, of course, my 10-year-old is there was a trailer for that before Avatar, and he said, we're going to see that. He didn't even ask. He said, we are going to see that. So for sure. If it's a Superman, a Spider-Man, or a Batman movie, I go see it. No questions asked. No matter what universe or what, I go see it. I mean, that's my holy three right there. I will go see anything by them. They're still making Transformers movies, huh? How about that? No interest in seeing The Flash, and that's amazing to me. Flash is a character I adore. Ezra Miller is just, I don't even know what to say about that guy. He's something. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Man, I wish. It's just I've been fooled by Disney so many times. I mean, on paper, de-aging Indy is actually pretty cool. I think that's actually a pretty nice. Oh, look, it's an awful name. It's an awful name for the movie. I wasn't fooled by that trailer at all. I feel like I know the bait and switch is coming. If I'm wrong, I will happily eat crow because trust me, there's nothing I would love more than to have one more great Indiana Jones movie. But right now, it's like, well, I think I'd rather watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull again than watch that. But we shall see. Hell yes, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 will be there opening night. I think Mission Impossible has passed James Bond as the best spy franchise. And these will be the last two with Tom Cruise himself. Oppenheimer, look, guys, if it is by Christopher Nolan, I go see it in the theater. I don't ask any questions. Or reason we did because Tenet was because it was during the virus. It shall not be named. Tenet made no sense, but you know what? It was still interesting. But yeah, Oppenheimer looks awesome. Barbie might be something I check out when it hits streaming. I don't know. Maybe I love Greta Gerwig makes really good movies, I think, and Margot Robbie is just she looks like Barbie, and it looks like a funny movie. It looks like they're gonna be kind of funny with it. So hopeful. I didn't know they were making a new Ninja Turtles movie. Is that animated? I don't even know. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I don't even know about that. They made a sequel to the Meg? Huh. I love a shark movie. Let's see. Where else we got? I'm into September now. The Nun Part 2, The Expendables Part 4. These are movies that I feel comfortable waiting for streaming on. I didn't know they were making a Kraven the Hunter movie. Is that an MCU movie? Gosh, man, I really fell out of. I don't even know these things. The Untitled Exorcist film. Now, this is being made by David Gordon Green, who did the new Halloween trilogy, or as I like to call it, 2 movies and just something that I don't even know what the hell that Halloween Kills movie was. I want to be optimistic because I feel like The Exorcist is something that could be built off of a little bit, much like Halloween was. But after Halloween Kills, man, I got no faith in David Gordon Green at all anymore. So that'll have to be impress me. They're making another Saw movie. Didn't even know that. Dune Part 2, November the 3rd. Yes. The question of that one is how many times will I go see that? Yes, in the theater, no doubt about it. They're making another Hunger Games movie, and I think it's that prequel. And I think that they had gold with Hunger Games. They could have made a prequel movie about Haymitch, how Haymitch won the games. They could have done that. Instead, it's a prequel about President Snow. Who asked for this? Oh man, she didn't even know how to handle her own series, in my opinion. Another Willy Wonka movie. Okay, Timothy Chalamet is playing Willy Wonka. How about that? Didn't even know that. They're remaking The Color Purple. That seems unnecessary. And then Aquaman on Christmas Day. Yeah, so most of these, sure, probably wait for streaming for a lot of them, but that's all the big ones I eyeballed. If you see some, but yeah, there's lots of things coming out. Okay, let me get back down to the regular comments here, and you guys want to ask the same question again? I don't have any problems with that. Let's see, where are we? The Hunger Games are the only decent dystopian teen movies, huh? I'm trying to think if that's right. Yeah, they haven't made Red Rising yet, so Red Rising would blow it away if they made it on TV, I think. Yeah. Timothy's going to be busy. That dude is it. I think I saw a thing where he was talking to some interview or something and saying that Leonardo DiCaprio kind of took him under his wing and gave him like advice, career advice. And he said he told him 2 things. 1, don't say no to legendary directors. And 2, don't say yes to superhero movies. That's what Leo told him. You know what? That's why I see all the time, like Timothy Chalamet getting cast as fan cast and MCU stuff. Like he will never do an MCU movie, guys. Never. Think about it. This guy was like, 17 and he was nominated for an Oscar. Yeah, he don't feel like he's got to do anything that he doesn't want to do. And he's working with, in my opinion, maybe the best in the business right now in Denny V. Do you find it interesting how each movie is either a franchise adaptation or a sequel? In my opinion, that's why I'm out on all the Disney stuff. It's just Disney has more money than God, man. Take some risks. Everything's Star Wars, MCU. Let's remake some. Let's remake Willow. Let's do everything that's already been done. They have like no risk taking ability. They don't do anything original, and I'm just man. We'll ever do a DVD Blu-ray collection tour. Those really tickles. And we did finish the Midnight Club. We liked it. That was really cool of Mike Flanagan to basically write a blog post about everything that was going to happen in Midnight Club 2 before it got canceled. And don't think that wasn't because he signed that deal with Amazon that Netflix canceled Midnight Club. I guess I could. I quit collecting DVDs and Blu-rays about 7-8 years ago when streaming really hit big. And I finally started being like, yeah, I'm not ever watching the physical disc stuff anymore. So they've got to be doing reshoots and getting Amber Heard out of Aquaman 2, right? I see no way that they're not. It'd be really cool if they replace her with what's her name? Emilia Clarke, who played Khaleesi, played Daenerys, because then you can have Khal Drogo and a Daenerys reunion. That'd be really cool, right? I think, yeah, Amazon has shown that they do thrillers very good. I think they just struggle with fantasy like bad. They really, really do. But I think I think, yeah, Blake Crouch or Michael Crichton stuff. I think Amazon would be a really good home for a lot of that stuff. Now, Maze Runner, the first movie, I liked a lot, and it made me read the series. And me and my wife were excited for Scorch Trials, and we were 30 minutes into that movie, and we're like, "Yeah, they're not following the books anymore," and we never even finished it. So, what's my favorite game, like ever? Oh man, there's so many. I did a top 10 video games of all time, and I felt like I spread it around really well. But what I went up to, and I had such a different grading system than everybody else would have. And I think I just kind of went with like my expectations, and it met those expectations. And I did with Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda on the N64. N64 is a system I think was ahead of its time, and then was like way outdated, like overnight. Like its shelf life was very short, and they kept trying to push it. But the Ocarina of Time had so much hype, and it actually exceeded that hype. It was amazing they were able to do that. Children of Men in the Road are perfect dystopian movies for 13-year-olds. I mean, I think if you got them to understand that, there's going to be some bad people out there, I think The Road would be great. Yeah, yeah. I think actually my kid might actually like The Road a little bit for sure. I haven't tried the Red Rising board game yet because that's something that I think is going to require a lot of thought, and that means I've got to give my wife the instructions to let her learn the game first, and she hasn't been willing to do that yet. So, but we will. It's out there on the game shelf. I mean, I hope it's. I mean, cool. I saw it's got Alexander Daddario, who's just a babe, and I'll at least tune in for a second. Maybe watch on mute. I don't know. I don't know if I'll watch or not. AMC used to be really, really quality. I feel like they just got so bogged down with their Walking Dead stuff that they just kind of lost all their creative minds. I don't know, but I think I also got a little disillusioned with AMC during what they did with Preacher, because Preacher is my favorite comic series of all time, and they completely shit the bed. You were on a network that would let you do all the controversial stuff that's in Preacher, and I don't know what the hell that was. Seth Rogen was like, "You just lost my respect, man. Don't come in here telling me how much you love that comic." And then that show was nothing like it. Yeah, so it's a bummer. Yeah, man. Like I said, For All Mankind, or Severance, just get Apple TV, and like I said, you can get that 7-day trial and just binge watch some stuff. Would I rather a Brandon Sanderson or a John Gwynn movie? Man, I'd love to see Faithful and the Fallen adapted on HBO. I think that'd be perfect television. Do I think a grunge era sorry. Do you think a grunge like era would ever impact teens today like it did in the early 90s? I mean, I feel like every generation has like that moment, that one song that becomes like the anthem for a generation. For mine, it was Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's when we broke away from the generation before us, and Gen X had like their own rebellion kind of thing. So I think everyone has to have like that moment. I haven't followed new music enough to know if that. I mean, are there people like listening to like Maroon 5 and like, fuck yeah, this changes everything? Now, I mean, I know it's hard. Every generation, guys, here's the thing. Every generation thinks the next generation's music sucks. So around 2010, I turned into my parents and thought everything on the radio sucked. But I don't know. I mean, I want to say, yeah, everyone's got to kind of have that. Every generation has to have that watershed moment. I just feel like right now, what's their watershed moment? TikTok. It's just such a different generation. I mean, in the early 90s, we were still like, we would go get an album and like listen to it on our headphones and read the lyrics in the little booklet that came with it. Now it's all instant gratification. It's different than we had. They have so many more options than we had, I think. It's like people complain about, oh, kids don't go inside anymore. Man, I would have went outside as much as I did if I'd had Netflix. If I'd have had a tablet that had everything at my fingertips like that, sure. So I think it's hard to judge, the pre-internet generation and internet generations, because there's just so many more things to do inside now than there used to be. Like my kid, my 10-year-old, still can't even ride a bike. He's never cared to learn, because he never felt like he needed to go outside. So there we go. I think Dunk and Egg is a matter of if, not when. Matter of when, not if, rather. I think Dunk and Egg will get made without a doubt. They will be making that one. No, I don't think the Babylon 5 reboot will ever happen. First, I was going to be on CW, and I had like no faith that they could do it because of budget reasons. You know, I like some CW, but I love Supernatural. I like the 100, so I'm not like anti CW. I just didn't think that was the right network for a Babylon 5 reboot, and I don't know. It sucks that that all just about all those actors have passed away. It's really sad. The guy who played Michael Garibaldi passed away recently. I think old Bruce is still going strong. Captain Sheridan, that's my dude right there. But just about it seems like just about everybody else has passed away. Mira Furlan passed away. The guy that played Londo passed away. The guy that played Jakars passed away. So it's really, really sad. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. J. Michael Straczynski, who I think is a great long form storyteller. So we'll see. I don't plan on reading Warhammer anytime soon. I'm reading Drist right now. That's my long series. And too many people have pushed me to read Dragonlance after that for me to say, yeah, definitely. No, I'll always talk some sports because I love that's the whole reason I'm on Twitter. Really was just to talk sports, and I know that makes it me a tough follow because people who want me to talk about sports get sick when I talk about books, and the people that follow me for the books get sick when I talk about sports. But that's why I'm there, and that's Twitter is about the only one that isn't just for marketing purposes for me, like everything else really is. I know they made that Salem's Lot movie. I'm really excited about William Sadler playing Father Callahan. I think that's a great, great casting, but I don't know what's going on with that movie. Like it's changed on the schedule 2 or 3 times now. It's a shame. Yeah, we watched Cargo a couple years ago during our Fright Fest that we do every year, our scary movies. We watched it. Yeah, really, really good. Really good. The ending was a real heart punch. Yeah, Hell on Wheels seemed like the final hurrah really for AMC, and then after Breaking Bad went on. Now look, I still love Better Call Saul, but I credit that more to Vince Gilligan than I do AMC because it just after Walking Dead fell off. And do you ever seen a popular show fall off a cliff faster than that one did? I feel like that whole network just got so obsessed with just these spinoffs. Where they got like 4 or 5 spinoffs of Walking Dead now, and I see Yellowstone doing the same thing now, and I'm like, man, it's okay to have one successful thing and do one spinoff, but now you're doing like 4 or 5 spinoffs of every show. And I blame Disney. Disney, hey, we had some success with Mandalorian. Let's greenlight every Star Wars show we possibly can. Hey, MCU is really popular. Let's do a billion shows set within that universe. It's just oversaturation, man. People just got tired of feeling like they got too much homework to do. So, yeah. Walking Dead. How about that? I think that Mistborn would actually be a pretty good adaptation. It wouldn't be that hard to do. Stormlight, I just can't see in live action. No one would take that. That needs to be an anime. There's just no way. People wouldn't take the Sprints seriously. They'd be laughing their asses off at them. And everyone in that show is like basically superpowered to a point, or in that series, superpowered to a point where they basically fly. And it's just like, hey, I think that would be a great, like the guys who do Dragon Prince on Netflix, like that animation team doing Stormlight would be great. Great. But as far as live action, Mistborn would be much more feasible, I think. Swan Song would be great. Maybe since they fucked up The Stand on CBS, maybe they'll make Swan Song and actually do it right. Is everybody coming back for this Justified revival? Is it got Raylan and Boyd? Because if it doesn't have Boyd in it, I'm not interested. I love Raylan, but man, Boyd stole that show. He really did. I've been following Walton Goggins, man, since The Shield. And he's doing Fallout, the Fallout adaptation on Amazon. So. Me too, man. Anytime we get to talk about some Song of Ice and Fire and the best book one in any fantasy series ever, I'm excited to talk about that, especially with the Lord Commander here, Scott. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, see, 2010 was my fall off point. Yeah. Hey, that's okay, Caitlin. You take care of them kiddos. I'll talk to you soon. Prism Pinhead. First I've heard of that. I'll check it out. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear. I'm playing metal music right now. It says that this channel isn't monetized, so I feel like I can get away with copyright stuff here. So yeah, I got Maiden playing back there right now. Actually, it's just the Black Sabbath radio channel on the Amazon streaming device. I just told to play the station Black Sabbath, and it's all 70s and 80s rock. I love it. Yeah, Dunkin' Eggs is gonna be great, man. It's gonna be great. Little doubt when they have source material by George R. R. Martin, and it's in the right people's hands. It's really really great. Probably season 5, because Eric Kripke's original vision for Supernatural was just those 5 seasons, and that season 5 was like the arc, the conclusion of everything. The culmination was just so good, so good. But I think there was some good stuff in all the years after. Yeah, we still enjoy watching it from time to time. Peacemaker, The Boys, Misfits, Umbrella Academy. I'd say we haven't watched the season 3 of The Boys or Umbrella Academy. Peacemaker's funny as hell, man. I mean, all those years of watching John Cena as a PG wrestler and seeing him on that show is, again, you either like James Gunn's humor or you can't stand it. It lands for me, and it's great. He calls his neighbor like a wrinkly old fuck in the first episode, and I about died laughing because I never thought those were words that I would hear coming out of John Cena's mouth. Yeah, I think season 2 through 5 of Supernatural, there are no wrong answers. It's great. Yeah, Crowley's the best. I'm still upset that they weren't able to work out something with that. They had like a big falling out with that actor, and they didn't get him back for the last episode. It's a shame. What's my favorite monster? I mean, any of the Universal monsters, I guess. The Mummy, the Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster. I don't know. It's an interesting question. It is. Everything is Disney's fault. They had success, and now everyone's trying to emulate them. I haven't watched Peaky Blinders, man. Everybody tells me it'd be right up my alley, and I love Cillian Murphy. I think he's great. I think he'd be great in Oppenheimer. I feel like I had no reason why I haven't watched that show. No reason. Just whenever I sit down to watch a new show, I never think about that one. I need to make it a point to do it. I think it looks like a lot of fun. Every time they try to do a serious Dungeons and Dragons movie, it's a huge flop. It's a big disappointment. And so I think this one being very, I don't know, fun. It just looks like that. Basically looks like if you had a campaign that you were playing D&D with some friends and said, no matter what happens, we make a movie of that. That's what that looks like. And I love Chris Pine. I think Chris Pine has good comedic timing, honestly. So I think it looks like a good time for sure. So you can't hear the music? Okay. Well, I don't want you drowning me out. I don't want to feel like I'm yelling at you. Isn't it an embarrassment that Iron Maiden isn't in the Hall of Fame? These guys have been doing this shit for longer than I've been alive. They've been packing houses. They're just, it's amazing. It's amazing. I finally got them off my bucket list right before the virus shall not be named hit. Got to see them live finally. And Bruce still sounds amazing, man. Yeah, they rocked for 3 hours. So old age hasn't slowed them down one bit. Bruce is an enigma, man. That guy is just, the fact that he's the one who flies their plane, he's an amazing, amazing person. He really is. Big Stephen King fan, too. Oh, here's someone who didn't like the Last of Us season 3. I just feel like it was out of place. I feel like on a different show that would be like amazing. It just felt out of place with that. And I do think it was a good episode of television. It was just out of place on that show. I felt like, I don't know, but I seem to be on the opposite side of that, whereas I think it's good where everybody else thinks it's just amazing. And I'm like, well, we're allowed to disagree on these things. I watched Vampire Diaries a little bit when it came out. The thing that killed me about Vampire Diaries is like it had good writing, good acting, good characters. But what killed me about that show was all that teeny bopper pop music that they put into it. I could never, if they just replaced that with like a cinematic score, that show would be great, man, because it has really good arcs. Like every season has like 3 main arcs. And I see why Jay loves it. I really do. I couldn't get past the music. It's just so bad. It's the first song I remember hearing, something by the Beatles, I'm sure. I haven't shown him Commando yet. That's one of our last ones. We watched Running Man not that long ago. That was one of the last ones. But Commando and Twins, I think, are the last couple that we have to go with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But yeah, my kid loves him. He thinks Arnold's the best. And I'm like, that's why I know that no DNA test is required. Season a while ago, who would you like to see take over the Lord of the Rings movie show? Did they fire the showrunners? Did they fire them? Because the rumor I heard was that basically they were going to be delegated somewhere else, that Amazon was not expecting the reaction that they got for season 1. They've spent way too much money, and they were going to get competent showrunners in there. And the other ones weren't going to be fired to save face. They were just going to kind of move them to a different role. I have no idea. Just look, someone who loves Tolkien, someone who loves the source material. Hey, what's Peter Jackson doing? Imagine what Peter Jackson could do with that budget. Oh my God, man. Man. Yeah, Peaky Blinders. I get that recommendation all the time. I don't know. Twins is fun, man. You forgot about the third rule. Oh yeah, so good. So good. A Stephen King read along. I mean, there's people doing Stephen King read alongs on my Discord all the time. It doesn't have to be me. If you are interested in reading a Stephen King book, just drop on the Discord, man, and let people know. And they will love to probably join you. Because every time it's like, hey, I've never read 11/22/63 or anything about reading, and 4 or 5 people will be like, oh, I'll read it with you. I've been meaning to do that. So just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean you won't be able to find someone else on the server who's doing it. And since I've read them, I'll drop in and I'll converse with you. It's not a problem at all. Just asking a hypothetical. Damn, you're getting me excited there for a minute. Well, we'll see if that rumor turns out to be true about them replacing the showrunners. Let's see. You guys have been very, very chatty. I appreciate that. I haven't, but look, I love Sly. Sly and Arnold were just like my heroes when I was younger. So I'll watch anything. I feel like Stallone is still putting out quality stuff. I've heard Tulsa King is really great. It looks really good. So yeah, I think I'll probably end up checking that out. I just haven't yet. Finished Dark Age. Do I hit Age of Madness trilogy or Boy's Life? Leaving your hands. After Boy's Life, you might want something a little lighter. Or I'm sorry, after Dark Age, because Dark Age will leave you filling things. So as I say maybe Boy's Life. It'll be a good palate cleanser before you start another series, I think. Palate cleansers are key, man, to keep you from getting burned out, for sure. Yeah, miss nothing. Just me bullshitting. That's really all I wanted to do tonight, because I know I haven't done enough for this channel. And I think doing live streams is always something I can do. I can, instant react to stuff that you guys want me to talk about. And, there's lots of stuff, all the DC news and stuff I want to talk about. And the fact that I loved Avatar, I thought was really, really good. And I know that people have like a vendetta against it because, I don't know why people have such a vendetta against it. I think they're just sick of watching James Cameron dominate everybody. But I don't know. Doing a live stream doesn't require me to edit anything or plan anything. And I'm having a hard time getting up enough content on my main channel. And I know I've neglected this channel quite a bit. And I would love, guys, to not have a real job, or have to take care of kids, and be able to do 5 videos on Mike's book reviews and 5 videos on Mike's media reviews every week. I'd love to be able to do that just like a full-time job. But fortunately, this is never going to be quit your job money. Like I said, I don't even have this channel monetized. So this was always just going to be a fun thing for me. Now, Scott, who loves everything, he really does. It's really hard to displease Scott when it comes to entertainment. Man, you should have heard some of his thoughts on Rings of Power. I mean, I feel like there was enough stuff in the appendices because as long as they even mentioned it in the appendices, they could use it. They really could have done Fall of Numenor really, really good. Really good. But I think the first mistake they made was absolutely butchering the casting for Galadriel. She is awful. She is so bad. She's got one emotion, sneer. That's her only emotion. Sneer and angry eyebrows. That's it. And I don't know. I think they botched that casting for sure. Because it never once feels like the Galadriel that Kate Blanchett played, or the Galadriel that we've read in the appendices in Silmarillion, in Lord of the Rings. That doesn't feel like Galadriel at all. I think the only saving grace on that show at all was Elrond and Durin. They're really good. I like them a lot. Everything else in that show, man. I mean, I kind of like Celebrimbor, but he was such a quick character. But I don't know. It's another missed opportunity, man. Think about The Witcher. Think about Rings of Power. Think about Wheel of Time. It just you had a budget behind this that we could have only dreamed of getting on fantasy series back in the day, and you had that opportunity. And instead of being faithful to source material, you wanted to try to put your own spin on it, and you don't understand why people don't like it, and you just have such a negative reaction to that criticism. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Hey, the Patriots, good stuff, man. We were gonna watch that over 4th of July, and it was 3 hours. So it's hard to get my kids to sit down for 10 minutes, really. Should have done stuff on my own channels, and mostly just me bitching Mike's Discord. I agree about the botch cat. Oh, well, I mean, I'm glad that someone besides me bitching on the Discord for a change. So I didn't have a plan for this episode at all. I just want to drop in, say hey, let you guys know that I realize I've been neglecting this channel a lot. And, I feel like just doing live streams once in a while could be a lot of fun because, I like to talk about these in my weekly updates. But then I don't want to, I know people are still on that channel for book stuff. And today I had a longer TV section than I usually do. And I said, I feel like I got some stuff I got to talk about. I got to get that out. And most of it was the DC stuff, because I want to be excited. I want to be excited, but I feel like they've hurt me. They've hurt me so much. Oh, God, Halo. Jesus Christ, man. Watching The Last of Us just makes me even more angry about Halo. This isn't hard. Jeez, man. That's why I'm not optimistic about the Gears of War adaptation. Gears of War is one of my favorite game franchises of all time. And you know what? We're gonna we're making Gears of War, but it's not gonna be like the game. That's what you'll hear right before it comes out. I don't know, man. It's a shame. But yeah, it's a 7-ish here. I think we're gonna watch a movie or something like that. So I just want to drop in and do a quick stream. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, man. It's a kick-ass Friday night. I'm having fun getting to talk with you guys, but my voice is starting to run out, and I got to record tomorrow. So I better leave it for that. But you guys have a great night. Have a great weekend. Be safe. All those things. And thanks for hanging. And have a great weekend, man. Watch something really, really cool. Apple TV, free trial, 7 days. Binge them, man. You'll enjoy it. So take it easy. Go see Avatar. See it on the big screen before it's gone, guys. You'll regret it if you don't. All right, man. Have a good night.